Spending less and getting more is a no-brainer. That's why serious landlords choose Inago. Forget the myth that free software means weak features. Inago delivers everything. Tenant screening, lease signing, rent collection, and more. For free. No fees, no contracts, just a full-featured, reliable platform trusted by thousands of landlords. Plus, their top-rated support team is always ready to help. Ready to streamline your property management and save money? Visit inago.com today. That's inago.com/podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Rentish Podcast. My name is Zach, and I'm here with my co-host, Patrick.
What up?
We're your hosts for this podcast that is called the Rentish Podcast. Kind of flipped it around there. We're a podcast that's kind of about rental properties and hosted by two guys that work in the real estate industry.
Restart.
Man, I flubbed that one hard. My brain is like... my brain, you ever have those sentences where your brain is just moving faster than your mouth can say the words? That's exactly what happened. We're your hosts for the Rentish Podcast, a podcast that's kind of about rental properties and hosted by two guys that work in the real estate industry and sort of know what they're talking about.
But mostly don't.
Nailed it.
Boom.
We're getting better. It's like week by week, we're greasing the machine.
Are we getting better or are we getting worse with the flubs?
Mousse, are we getting better? Producer Mousse, are we getting better or are we getting worse?
You guys are getting better.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I feel like before we would have been like, oh, we got to redo the whole thing.
Is that how Elliot sounds?
No, that's how Patrick sounds.
We got to redo the whole thing, guys. No.
Or we just don't care as much and just don't, just keep
No.
going.
I think we care.
We super care.
Yeah.
We care a lot. So much.
That's the thing.
And you're going to have fun carrying along with us and listening to us talk to experts and learning along with us or just kind of laughing at how little we know. The Rentish Podcast, you can find us in a bunch of different ways, but the best thing to do is just go to your podcast platform of choice and search for The Rentish Pod. Subscribe, follow, download, like, review, comment. Give us all those things that we appreciate very much because it helps us. And share it with your friends. If your friends are into real estate or just getting into the business of real estate investing or have any sort of interest in this stuff, this real estate stuff, share it with them as well and spread the good word. And also at the Rentish Pod on Instagram. You can also email questions at therentishpod.com for any topic suggestions, any feedback, any movie trivia, or general topics of conversation.
Literally anything. We just want to talk to you guys.
Yep. Send it in. We'd appreciate you. Patrick, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good.
Nothing else to report. I'm just good. I'm not great. I'm not bad. I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you?
Thank you. I was waiting for you to ask me how I am.
Yeah. I think you were fishing for that.
I'm great, Patrick. You know why I'm great?
Why are you great?
Because yesterday, two big things happened in the world.
Okay.
And so Patrick and I are movie guys, so deal with it. You're listening to the Rentish Pod. We're going to talk about real estate, but we also love movies.
Yeah.
Yesterday, new Superman trailer. James Gunn's Superman movie's coming out July 11th.
Right.
Mark your
you
calendars.
told me about it. Yeah.
It's my most anticipated movie of the year. I've been a longtime comic book fan and Superman fan. New trailer. I'm on cloud 9. Patrick, I walk into the office today. I was like, Patrick is like, I saw it was good. And I just wanted to kick him.
I kind of
right in the
I didn't watch the whole thing either. I just kind of skipped around a
God,
little
that
bit.
makes me so irrationally angry. I can't even tell you.
What? How many times have you watched it?
It was like 25 or 30. Yeah.
And it came out less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah, less than 20. No, yesterday at noon it came out. We're recording this on May
gotcha.
15th. But yeah, no, super excited. Love the trailer. Come on. You saw it and
I think it looks good. I think it looks like a fun vibe. I think.
Right.
I'm not huge on the superhero train now, but I would go see this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. The other big thing, and I'm repping the T-shirt right now. HBO flipped it. They flipped it back.
They're back to HBO Max instead
Snip,
of
snap,
Max.
snip, snap. They went from HBO Max to Max. To just Max.
Yeah.
And now they're flipping it back to HBO Max.
I mean, I think it's definitely makes sense. Everyone I know still called it HBO Max or HBO, whatever. I wouldn't say I'm on cloud 9 about that. I'm okay, with a shoulder shrug. You're wearing an HBO Max shirt right now.
Well, we're back. We are back. So that's why I'm wearing the shirt, is because we are back.
What about Pete Rose?
Pete Rose, that's right. Yeah, Pete Rose, the band lifted. We're getting into sports now, too.
Mousse wants to contribute.
Mousse just went rogue. It's all right, now we're going to talk about sports with some guy that really likes sports, and then this guy that doesn't know
I
anything.
love the sport balls.
You went to the baseball. You went to your first baseball game ever on Pete Roseman.
I've been to a Cleveland Guardians game.
Okay.
And I went to my first Cincinnati Reds game.
Got it. So it's not your first baseball game. It was your first Reds game.
Yeah. It's
Did you have a good time?
Bucket list. I'm okay. I'll put it this way. I am glad that I went.
This guy's about to say some
No.
crap.
I'm glad that I went.
Yeah.
So I can say I've gone.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I have no. Yeah. We'll leave it at that.
You told us you hated the hot dogs.
No, well, it was like $2 hot dog night. So I did have 4 hot dogs, but I'm a big hot dog guy for our listeners who don't know. And they were just weren't good. You know, it was. Yeah, they're not good. I mean,
the ballpark dogs. I've never had a bad ballpark dog at the Great American Ballpark.
They're not like I ate 4 obviously, so clearly they were good enough for me to eat 4, but they weren't good. You know,
maybe it was because they were doing the cheap hot dog night. They were making them
definitely.
way more than they do the typical. Because when I get in on a typical, I go to a baseball game and get a hot dog, it's super hot, fresh out of the thing. All the toppings, the bun is fluffy. Mousse, come on now. He's just laughing at my description of a hot dog. You know?
Yeah, I will say that was not the case with these hot dogs. I would personally people are saying oh, it's $2 dog night. It's no, I would rather just go to a hot dog shop and eat really good hot dogs and then not have to watch baseball. But yeah.
All right, well, okay. Shout out to the Reds. I love Great American Ballpark. Officially eliminated Reds yesterday with their loss to the White Sox, eliminated from playoff contention. So another year.
Already?
Yep, already.
Okay.
But we're not here to talk about sports and or Superman and or Warner Brothers media. Although that might be what it sounds like. Hey, if you enjoy that stuff, hey, we're here for you. But today we're going to talk about some fun real estate topics. We're going to cover tiny homes in the United States. Patrick's got some fun stuff to talk with us about tiny homes. And then we're going to talk about real, what is it called? Real estate real.
Right?
Real estate real. Film Reel, REEL, where we're going to talk about famous movie, television properties, and we're going to talk about the Loft from New Girl. So yeah, we're going to get right on into it, Patrick. You got some things to share with me about tiny homes.
Tiny homes. We're going to be talking about what they are, why people are turning to them, how they change the way we think about space, affordability, and sustainability in real estate.
Okay.
Tiny homes 101. What are they? Zach, do you have a guess as to what a tiny home is?
Well, I don't need to guess because I lived it. I've stayed in a tiny home.
Oh,
yeah.
When did you stay in a tiny home?
So it was years ago. 20. It was probably when that craze was first getting going, or at least when I first heard about it.
Yeah.
I stayed at an Airbnb in Asheville, North Carolina.
Okay.
It was a tiny home. It looked like a shipping container kind of house or whatever, but not like a barn dominium like we talked about on that one episode.
Nice callback.
Thank you. But it was literally a tiny home. It was one door. You could see the back of the house from the front door. All the stuff just kind of squished in the middle of the house. So I've stayed in one before. It was just like a weekend Airbnb thing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so it's a small house.
Tiny
home. Tiny home equals small house.
It's not a tough question.
No. I think tiny home just has better search engine SEO than friggin' small house.
Small house.
It sounds better to say tiny home than to say small house.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never stayed in a tiny home. I would like to one of these days. I've stayed in an RV. My grandparents have an RV. I don't know. That's not really the same thing.
Nope.
It's kind of a similar sort of in terms of the
similar,
layout, compact.
Similar, but that's that's a place that's mobile. The idea of a tiny home is that it's completely stationary.
Right.
You build it up, and that's your house.
Right. Well, some of them. I mean, this article talking about mobile tiny homes on wheels, but I'm just that to me just seems like an RV. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just we're just dancing around the fact that you basically have an RV. You just don't want to call it an RV. You just want to call it a tiny home.
But yeah, a tiny home, compact living space. It's typically under 400 square feet. That's kind of the size I saw as what would be considered a tiny home.
Right.
And obviously the design of a tiny home is to maximize function and minimize footprint. So get everything you need out of a home as in compact of an area as possible.
Right.
So typically between 100 and 400 square feet, they can be custom built, DIY, or prefabricated. So I know, like, I saw this thing a while ago on the internet. It's just like the Model T of tiny homes, and just kind of like factory made like tiny homes. I don't remember like what company was doing it. But there's also like, you know, custom made tiny homes to what you want. Basically, they got to include a kitchen, bathroom, a sleeping area, and a minimal like living space and a place for you to keep your clothes and anything that you might need.
Right.
Obviously, without excess, right? I don't think like my Blu-ray collection would be able to fit in a tiny home, for example.
I like that that's your primary concern of whether or not you would live in a tiny home. Should we talk about that now of like the would you or would you not live in a tiny home, or do you want to save that till later?
We can save that toward the end, because I'm going to
fine.
bring up some of the pros and cons of tiny homes,
Okay.
and then we can discuss whether we would live in them. But first, where are tiny homes? They can kind of be anywhere.
Where are they?
where? So they can be in urban backyards or rural plots. And there's even like tiny home communities. I don't know if you've seen any of these, like a community of just a bunch of tiny homes. Yeah, no, they exist. And I know, like, I got a friend who stayed in Hocking Hills, actually.
Yeah. I've seen those online many times. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, want a nice little place to, like, a home away from home and a weekend visit to Hocking Hills, and yeah, they've got like the little tiny homes there, and they're like super modern and like luxurious. Like they're trying to make it like a premium hotel room, basically.
Yeah. So why are they popular? So there's a couple reasons. I mean, one of the big ones is with the average home prices topping upwards of $400,000 in the U.S., tiny homes much more affordable. Usually priced between $30,000 and $100,000. So, like, obviously, way more affordable to the average person.
Yeah.
So it's an accessible path towards like home ownership when, you know, some folks might not otherwise be able to have that as easily.
Yeah.
Another reason it's popular is the simplicity and minimalism is of it. Is that the right word? Minimalism.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I was like trying to think of like minimalization, but that's not a word.
Minimalistic.
Minimalistic is the adjective.
Minimalist would be the person.
Yes. So minimalists who want to practice minimalistic minimalism might want a tiny home.
That should be the title of this episode. Minimalists who want to practice minimalistic tendencies to be minimal.
Well, I mean, in the age that we live in, like, we're a hyper consumerist, materialistic sort of age, and I think like some people are craving those simpler lifestyles, having less clutter, even like less utility bills and
Right.
like just less things to like pay for and have and keep up with. So obviously, tiny homes scratches that itch for those people.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, like you said, it kind of exploded. What was it, like 2018, 2019, maybe?
Well, when I stayed in a tiny home, it was like 2017, but I probably
Maybe
first
before
heard of
that.
them when I was in high school.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't
maybe
know.
it was a little
Yeah,
earlier
maybe
than I
around
thought.
there,
But like on social media, and there's like shows like Tiny House Nation.
Never heard of it.
Trends on TikTok, Instagram, all the social medias.
The hip socials that the kids are
The
using.
kids are using.
Is
right?
the producer may say, is the Rentish on TikTok yet?
No, it's not.
We got to start practicing like TikTok trend dances and have Patrick do them
It will be like
to
dances
promote
like
the
this.
episodes.
I
Yeah,
don't
like the
think
whip.
our listeners saw that. But okay, let's talk about the functionality a little bit. So one of the big components of a tiny home is smart design. So every inch matters. So in a tiny home, when you're trying to maximize functionality in as small of a space as possible,
Yep.
things like fold-out beds, hidden storage, lofted beds and sleeping areas. Tiny homes are like, I don't know if like when I see the inside of a tiny home, sometimes I'm like, how do you fit in this small of a space? But then
Sure.
I get the little tour. It's like, oh, this folds out. This has,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of like, what's that like? It's like a Lego set. That's not the word I'm looking for. You know, like something where it's like, everything is like so perfectly designed.
Sure.
What's
Yeah. I
the-
mean, like a diorama or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm looking for. Sustainability. A lot of tiny homes, on top of being just compact, have sustainability tactics to make them as inexpensive as possible, and maybe as independent.
Undependent.
Not
We're
dependent.
gonzo.
Not dependent. Not dependent on like external things. So like things like solar panels are really popular with tiny homes.
Yeah.
And obviously there's not as much power in a tiny home, but like, you got a tiny home with solar panels. It's like
Right.
that's self-sufficient. Maybe that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to this when we talk about like our opinions on if we live in these or not. But I
Yeah.
do have to give a shout out to the sustainability aspect
For
of the
sure.
tiny home. Like, I think that is very cool. The idea of like, I don't need this gigantic house with 3-4 bedrooms that costs X amount of dollars to heat up and stay cool in the summertime. And it's like, I can have this small little box that holds myself and maybe a significant other and maybe some cherished possessions. But I don't know. It's very cool.
No, it is cool. And a lot of them have like things like composting toilets and eco-friendly materials and stuff like that. The last kind of point with tiny homes is the flexible living options. So I think a common thing, like, as you've said, and I alluded to with the Hawk and Kills thing is kind of like short-term rentals. I think tiny homes are pretty popular in the short-term rental sort of atmosphere where like some people might not want to full-time live there, but it's like, oh, cool, I get to have this kind of
definitely
experience for a week, kind of like living maybe a little off-grid without all my stuff, but still have everything I need. I think it's popular there. Also, I mean, some people full-time live there. It's got that sort of living option.
And the concept of like I said, my experience with staying at a tiny home was in an Airbnb. So the short term like rental investment sort of aspect is strong.
Yeah.
Or it could be strong. We'll kind of talk into the popularity of this stuff. But.
Right. And one I kind of just thought of is maybe like a vacation home. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but it's not like it's something that you like own, but it's not like your primary residence.
Right.
Like, tiny home in the woods. I think that's probably something that's pretty popular.
Do you think so? Yeah,
I would think.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, not to spoiler alert. We'll come back to that point. But some of the benefits, obviously, I've said lower cost of living, the mobility and freedom.
Right.
So you can kind of like have more flexibility where it gets placed. Tiny home on wheels, aka RV.
Yeah.
You can move it around.
Sure.
Less debt.
Sure. That's a good thing. We like less debt.
Less debt.
Yeah.
And then one of the points that was brought up was community living. I don't necessarily think this is really a valid point because, there's tiny home communities, but there's also things called neighborhoods. Like you don't need to have a tiny home to have a community living. I don't think that's a valid point, but that was one that was brought up.
But if it's like a community of people that are interested in the same, it's like living in, it's like being part of like a movie club. It's like
dumb it down to a language I can understand.
You could just go to any club, but you're in a club with the people of the similar thing that you care about. You know? So the tiny home neighborhood, it's like you just get to knock on your next door neighbor and it's like, aren't you as excited about composting as I am?
Right. Some of the challenges do still exist. There's zoning laws and regulations against it. So some cities or many cities don't have zoning codes that support tiny homes, especially the mobile ones, which mobile tiny home, I still want to fully understand what the difference between that and
sure.
is.
I'm sure there's a detailed breakdown if we Google.
Yeah. And then sometimes getting a mortgage or insurance for a tiny home can be tricky compared to like more traditional housing. Yeah,
it's interesting. We reached out to some of our experts that gave us this tidbit here about getting a mortgage or insurance for tiny home can be tricky, but we don't really have a whole lot of expounding on that. Why would you think it's harder to get a mortgage on or insurance for a tiny home? Just because it's like, why would you get a mortgage for something that cheap? I don't know. It's tricky. It's like I don't really have a good answer for that.
I don't know, but something like a guess that I have is it's less established. It's a newer thing. I think maybe some people still think it's a fad or a phase or whatever.
Right. And it's not a good investment because people won't care about this in 10 years.
Right. Yeah. Versus like a more traditional sort of house or apartment complex. It's like those have been around forever. That's my best guess.
Okay. Maybe they're more easily damageable. Like, I mean, there's smaller buildings. Like what if like you have a bad storm or whatever, and then all of a sudden like high winds instead of like maybe damaging your back patio, instead like high winds could damage your actual left side of your house.
Yeah, right.
the entire part of it.
No, yeah, that's a good point for sure. But cities are getting on board. Places like Fresno, California, and Austin, Texas are revising zoning rules to allow more tiny homes to be built.
See, this makes sense for places like California that have like population problems too. Yeah. Like if you've ever been to San Francisco or Los Angeles, it's just a sprawl of just like stuff. Yeah. And so it's hard to get like a house in those kind of places. But if you could afford like a tiny home on like a small lot, positive.
Yeah, right. And according to the research, some cities are even investing in them to combat things like homelessness and just housing shortages. Right. So like I think like in those areas like you suggested.
Okay. So
who are tiny homes made for? I think there's like a few different groups of people in terms of real estate buyers.
Yeah.
There's first time buyers. It could be a good entry into ownership, right? If you can't afford like a more expensive property, but there's a tiny home available and you can get a start buying that property and renting out a tiny home.
Yeah.
It's certainly a good entry point.
Mhm.
Or could be a good entry point. Renters, obviously people who are maybe looking to rent one short term, even long term.
Yeah, could be.
There's-
I mean, it's the vacation rental thing again. Like I said,
Yeah.
like that's I bet that sticks out as like a unique vacation rental.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and just investors looking to maybe invest in some.
Sure. I would love to get one of our investor friends on the pod and talk to them about this,
Yeah.
Maybe we get one of our experts kind of talk about like would they, won't they, what would they look for? Is this even something that they would I can't even picture where the nearest tiny home is to like.
Yeah,
You don't see them very commonly in Cincy.
Yeah, I mean in the city. Well, I like the idea of like build your own, like
Sure.
do it yourself tiny home, like make the tiny home how you would want it to be.
This sounds like a live stream we should do for the Rentish, where it's like Zach and Patrick each have 10 hours to build their own
That's
tiny home on
such
a
a
live
good
stream or
idea.
whatever. And the winner, what does the winner get? They get to live there.
they get to move into
They
the
get
tiny
to
home.
Congrats. Before you wrap up, Pat,
yeah.
I did want to kind of say, I was curious about this. So I Googled how many people in America live in tiny homes.
Okay. Hit me with
This is according to Ruby Home, which is a source I'm not super familiar with. But if you had to guess, how many tiny homes exist in the U.S.? Best guess.
Okay, I'm gonna go a million.
A million.
Yeah.
10,000 is what this
That's
website
it?
says. It's estimated around 10,000 tiny homes exist in the U.S., representing about 0.36 of all residential listings.
That can't be right.
This is what they say.
Wow, that's not many at all. What about
Total residential listings. So like these. Oh, okay. So there might be more, but that's how many that like at the time that they did this source, how many were listed. So like maybe people buy them and just stay in them. So this could be like a talking point on the fact that people will make or buy a tiny home and stay there.
Mhm.
But at the time of this article's
Huh.
research, they only saw 10,000 in the U.S. for list.
Got it.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, would you? To the long-awaited question: would you live in a tiny home?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. I appreciate the environmental aspects of it. I think that that's very cool. And I thought that it was fun staying in a tiny home for a weekend as like a unique getaway, like a oh, it's cool. But then I was like, by Sunday the novelty had worn off, and I was
Yeah.
like, I need more space to move around.
Yeah.
And also, I don't mind living with people. I've lived with partners, fiancés now for a long time.
Uh-huh.
I need my space.
Yeah.
I in a tiny home, you cannot. It's near impossible to really have your own dedicated space. Like, I need a place to go to sit down and listen to music or be with my own thoughts and like journal or write or read a book or whatever. It's like when you're in the cohabiting a space with someone, even if you love and care about that person a lot, it's possible that you may clash. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's a small space for two people to co-inhabit. So me solo, bachelor Zach, who knows? I mean, maybe ask me that like 15 years ago, but like now, definitely no. I couldn't do it. Just too small, too confined. I need a little bit more space to move. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely long term I couldn't do it. And I agree. I kind of wish I was one of those people that could. I just don't, I agree. I like my space. I kind of like collecting things. I'm a bit of a collector.
That's the thing too, is I have a lot of storage. If I moved into a
Yeah.
tiny home, I would have to get a storage unit.
Right. However, I could see myself having a tiny home as like a retreat, like weekend retreat, like a couple hours, like maybe like more nature and just kind of like disconnect from stuff. And like I could see myself being in that position.
Patrick's like,
Airbnb it.
I invested in a tiny home outside the Red Robin. It's my home away from home. I wake up, I burger, I go back to bed. I wake up, I burger, I go back
Dude, that sounds awesome.
to bed. Patrick's taking burgercation.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right.
Thank you, Patrick, for informing all of us about tiny homes. Folks out there, let us know what you think about tiny homes by emailing questions@therentishpod.com. Spending less and getting more is a no-brainer. That's why serious landlords choose Inago. With features like tenant screening, lease signing, and rent collection, Inago gives you everything you need for free. No fees, no contracts, just powerful property management made simple. Visit inago.com/podcast to sign up. That's INNAGO.com/podcast. Next up, we're going to go to Real Estate Real, and we're going to do a quick one. This is a super abbreviated one, and I think partly because one of the two people on this show has not, criminally I might add, seen New Girl.
I've seen like a couple episodes. My girlfriend loves it, and
We'll get into that. All right. We're talking about the Jess's Loft. So the apartment in New Girl, the Loft apartment. If you're familiar with the show, you'll know exactly what we mean. I mean, 95% of the show takes place in their loft apartment with, all the gang just hanging up out there, doing their shenanigans and getting into their, fun relationship dynamics. I mean, clearly it's like New Girl is very much like a throwback sitcom. It reminds me a lot of Seinfeld or How I Met Your Mother or Friends. It's kind of in those same sort of veins where it's really just about a couple of adults living together, figuring life out as they go along, and that's kind of what New Girl is. Love Zoe Deschanel. I think that the show is awesome. We'll talk about our opinions on the show. But we're going to explore the sunny Los Angeles apartment here. One of the quirkiest, most beloved living spaces on television. It's where we watched roommates become best friends, where True American was born, and where almost nobody seemed to have a steady job, and yet the apartment was massive. So, in the show, the Loft is located in LA's Arts District, which is part of the downtown LA. I love this abbreviation, DTLA. Is that a common abbreviation for downtown Los Angeles? Part of downtown Los Angeles, or DTLA, as it's known by the kids. In the show, they refer to it as being at 8375 Melrose Avenue, but that is a fictional address, just like many addresses in television shows. They just totally lie.
Well, Melrose is a real place.
It's got to be. It sounds right. Yeah. Well, Melrose Place was another show. That was a sitcom. Okay. But in real life, the exterior shots were filmed at the Binford Lofts. Hey, throwback. You were just doing... Binford Tools, Home Improvement. You were doing the Tim Allen thing. Located at 837 Traction Avenue in the Arts District. So what is the Arts District, you might add? Once a gritty industrial zone, the Arts District has become one of LA's coolest neighborhoods, filled with art galleries, breweries, cafes, and converted warehouse lofts. Real estate fun facts here. Mm. So obviously, Patrick, you've seen enough New Girl to have a general understanding of the Loft apartment.
Yeah, I have an understanding, I would say, of the apartment.
Let's give it a little descriptor for the audience.
Right. It's open. It's very open.
Open space. Yeah. What do they call it? Open floor plan?
Yeah.
Is what they typically like. Each one of them has their own unique bedrooms or whatever, but then it's like they have this giant communal space that goes from the bedroom hallways all the way to the windows, and it's just these like giant windows, tons of natural light, open space, like lots of furniture and rugs. And I gotta say, I think that it's super homey. I love the look of these loft places. I've always thought it would be cool to live in a place like this in Cincinnati. Like you see loft apartments like this go for rent, sometimes an OTR, and it's just like, it's beautiful. It's an open space. It's warm. It's welcoming.
I like the exposed brick.
Yeah, so cool. Love that. Some trivia facts, though. So, True Loft Living. The Binford Lofts are classic live-work warehouse conversions. So think exposed brick, high ceilings, concrete floors, and giant windows, which are super popular with creatives. And that's true. When I see a loft like this, I immediately think like, oh, you must be a painter.
Yeah.
You have an easel and you're listening to Mozart. Adaptive reuse boom. In the early 2000s, LA passed an adaptive reuse ordinance, which makes it easier to convert industrial buildings into residential spaces, transforming neighborhoods like the Arts District.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even think about that.
So it would probably help with the them becoming like rising and popular. Right. I remember like when I was going to college, like getting out of college, and people started to talk about like where are we going to live, blah. We gotta find a loft to live in the loft. Like it was a hip thing, man. I'm sure that it still is, but I'm sure that helped it out a lot, especially in very industrial places, which Cincinnati, very industrial, especially like the west side. You go, it's like tons of industrial buildings that have just, been run down or like, aren't being totally utilized anymore. I'm sure people identify those kind of places to, put in good lofts.
Right.
DTLA resurgence, once considered too gritty, downtown LA has become a hotbed of development with luxury lofts and new construction commanding high prices. So let's talk about the Loft real quick. It's massive.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing, especially by LA standards. It's a sprawling open concept with 4 bedrooms, sometimes 5, depending on the room.
What does that mean, sometimes 5?
That's what I was trying to think. I have no idea. I don't remember them ever having more than 4.
A 5th bedroom sometimes appear when there's
like it was like an edit
when there's a new character.
An editing error. They were like, oh, we constructed a 5th bedroom. But yeah, 2 bathrooms, a large shared living area and kitchen, a mezzanine, and a second floor nook. A rooftop access, often seen in later episodes. The unit looks like it's about 2,500 to 3,000 square foot. For a downtown LA loft, that's palatial. Warehouse conversions like this don't often follow typical floor plans, and rooms may be oddly shaped or have semi-permanent walls, but it adds that nice little touch that a lot of people look for. Okay.
Do you have, like, could they afford it?
Who?
I mean...
That's what we're about to find out.
Okay.
A 3 to 4 bedroom loft in the arts district, in the DTLA, as the kids say, might have gone for about $2,500 to $3,500 a month. That was back in 2011.
Okay.
Honestly.
Oh, that's like when the show.
Not as much as I would have thought. A comparable multi-bedroom loft in the Binford building or nearby would likely rent for $6,500 to $9,000 a month. Possibly more with rooftop access.
Yeah.
Buying that unit, expect about $1.5 to $2.5 million
for the unit,
depending on the size and the finish.
In DTLA.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I don't know. So could the characters afford it? Well, that's the thing, is that, like, the intro kind of mentioned it, is that much like a lot of other sitcoms, these characters don't keep the same jobs. They flip-flop around a lot of stuff. Like, Winston was kind of, like, not even, like, employed for a while in the show. Like, he was in school. Jess is a teacher, which we all know are criminally underpaid.
Yeah.
So it's like she definitely was not making the amount of money to afford that kind of monthly rent. Also, they're balling out constantly.
Yeah.
They're always, like, playing... They're having parties and going out to bars and, like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine their bank accounts are in, like, the negative.
Yeah.
Like, way negative.
What are the so there's 5 of them, 4 of them?
So Jess, Nick, Schmidt, Winston, and Coach. There's, like, variations of that group. Coach leaves for a few seasons. It's complicated.
Okay.
Jess is a school teacher.
And then
Nick, bartender most of the time, and entrepreneur.
Okay.
The sweatshirt, that's one of my favorite things, is the suit that looks like a sweat. The swoot, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
He designs a suit that's made out of sweatpant material.
Okay.
And so he wears it to a job interview, and he's like, I'm comfortable, and I'm going to get this job. The swoot. Yeah, it's great. Schmidt is a marketing bro, so he's probably the one that's, like, shouldering most of the rent cost of in this situation. Winston, LAPD officer eventually, but again, he spends a lot of the show kind of, like, hopping between employment.
Yeah.
And then Coach was a personal trainer.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Personal trainer in LA, maybe making a pretty penny there as well. But
right.
I don't know. Yeah. Only Schmidt could afford his share comfortably. The rest, not so much. But TV logic is greater than real life budgeting.
I just wonder how some of these shows, like, give false expectations toward people moving to, like, places like LA and New York.
Totally.
You know?
It's like, you can make it too. I don't know about that. Some fun math here. The LA renters are advised to spend no more than 30% of income on rent.
Yeah.
So if rent is $1,600 each, Jess would need to earn at least $64,000 a year, and public school teachers in LA average around $55,000 to $70,000 a year.
Okay, so on the higher end of that, she could make it.
Maybe. But even on the high end, $70,000 for a teacher in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You would assume that they would be paid way more than that.
Right.
Crazy stuff. So just to quickly wrap everything up, I mean, if you've seen the show, you know what it is. I love New Girl. You're a little bit more lukewarm about it. You want to hit me with your New Girl? I think lukewarm is
pretty generous. I don't know, like
generous.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. To me, it's just like it stinks of, like, LA written fake. It's just not my thing. It's
LA written has a smell.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very inauthentic to me. I'm not a fan. The show is not for me.
Okay.
My girlfriend loves it. We found other shows that were, there's a Venn diagram middle section that we both agree on. And that's one. It's just like, every now and then I'll watch an episode when she has it on. And yeah, I don't know. I don't love it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I some of my favorite TV shows, especially comedies, are if you can write really relatable characters that are, comedy's all about character for me. It's like, it gets annoying if it's like you have all these wacky characters doing all this wacky stuff, but I think that the group really balances each other out. Everyone has their very unique, distinct personality, and it plays into all the different stories and different situations they find themselves in. So, like, personally for me, I think that the interplay between all the characters is what makes the show great, and it dips hard. Because I love New Girl, but there is a season when Zooey Deschanel leaves the show because in real life she was pregnant and is and had a baby. But in the show, they replaced the lead character with Megan Fox for a season.
Oh, I had no idea.
And it is atrocious. No, nothing against Megan Fox.
Yeah.
Because I've seen her in some stuff that I like. But like, oh my God, it's bad. It's like, it is so bad. They probably would have been better off taking a year hiatus from the show. But still, sitcoms got to make their money. And it's a network sitcom show at the time. It wasn't like a streaming show. So like ABC or whatever needed to make their money off of weekly episodes. I think it might have been on Fox, but I don't remember. But so besides that one blemish, I think it's a great show. And I think it has a great ending. I think that the very last episode of the show is actually like a very heartfelt way to tie up everything together and leaves you thinking like, I feel good about these characters and where their lives are going to go from this point on.
Okay.
And after spending 6-7 years of being invested in the characters, I like that. I like when a show ends and I have a good taste in my mouth. So
That's good.
I don't know. New Girl, good show. But yeah, I got to give a special shout out to Jake Johnson as Nick, who's the best character in that show. He's so freaking funny. I love his portrayal of that character. Like, he's like the perfect schlub. It's awesome. Like, lazy, works when he can as a bartender, but he's kind of got that heart of gold that you just appreciate. And I love the Schmidt character. I actually think that Schmidt is like, he goes through the best emotional journey in the show. Like, his description on the document here is marketing bro at a high-paying firm, but he's a lot more than that. Like, he ends up changing and growing and becoming a better person over the course of the show. So I like that the characters a lot. But again, like I said, you got good characters. You hooked to Zach, so.
Okay.
But that's it. Thank you all for listening to another episode of The Rentish Pod. Follow us at The Rentish Pod on Instagram. You can email questions at therentishpod.com with any, topic suggestions or feedback or anything that you might have that you want to share with us. Your opinions on New Girl, and tell us why Patrick's wrong about everything. And you can, and especially about Superman. Email me about Superman. And then, subscribe on the podcast platform of choice, rate us, review us, and give us a comment, and we love and appreciate all of you for doing so. I've been Zach, that's been Patrick, that's been Muse, and we'll see you guys next time. What if you had a network of mentors and peers to guide you through your toughest challenges? Cohorts is a private network of experienced investors who share lessons, insights, and support at every stage of growth. Whether you're managing 10 million or 1 billion in assets, Cohorts helps you build smarter and avoid costly mistakes. Learn more and join the community at joincohorts.com/podcast.